Welcome to Critical Hit, a Major Spoilers podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and checking us out this week. We are deep into it in the wilds of the Numenera, or the Numenera. I don't know where the name came from, Brad, but
like numinal, like the numinal, or numinous.
Yeah. Hello, Numenera.
Very clever. Very clever. Yeah. All right. Well, so last time.
Critical hit.
I just telegraphed those and you still miss them. That's good. You guys discovered a thing. You found the central courtyard to this building. So I'm going to award everyone 2 XP. So everybody give yourselves 2 experience points.
Oh boy.
And that's going to put Sam and Rob and Steven in the zone to level up if you want to.
Yes.
Yes, I would like to get the bonuses to my pools and put 2 into speed and 1 into the other 2.
All right, 2 into speed and 1 into the other 2. All right.
What she said.
Hang on a second. Give me a dang second here. 2 into speed and 1 into the other 2. I got that for you.
So right. We're not at the point right now where we can have a second edge or use a second edge, right?
Yes, some people actually have edge 2. Oh, you can't. No, okay, edge.
Second level of effort.
Nobody has a second level of effort yet, though.
Then I will increase my effort. I will increase my effort score by 1 then.
All right, hang on. So, Sam, your might is 13, your speed is 14, and your intellect is 13. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All
so
right.
I naturally get a bonus of 5 to speed for the reflexes feature of moves like a cat. So my speed is actually 19.
14 plus 5 is 19. All right, very good. All right, gotcha. All right, so Rob, you said you wanted to do the same thing.
Yeah, word for word what Sam did.
All right, so 2 to your speed and 1 to everything else. Mm-hmm. And by my count, that's going to put you at 14 for your speed, 13 for your might, and 15 for your intellect. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
Question, would that fill our temporary pools as well?
Yeah, whether or not the game says it does, I'm saying it does. So we're just going to, yes, you just have got those points now. All right, and Steven, you wanted to allow to
increase my effort.
All right, effort plus 2. All right.
Not that it does anything right now, but
yeah, your effort is 2. Actually, is what we should say.
Yeah.
Effort equals 2. All right. All right. Very good. All right. Any other weird bookkeeping stuff that we need to do before we start this? Everybody cool? Everybody good? All right. Yep. Somebody tell me. I'm going to let one of you folks tell me. So you remember that in the previous episode, or maybe it was it was in the previous episode that you left Galen Briss in that cocoon, having interrupted it once, and then it re-cocooned him. About how long ago was that? How long were you walking around here and messing around? How many hours ago was that, do you think?
I don't think it was that long, because all we really did was walk around the greenhouse where we encountered the weird hermit crab things that are following Silica around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at this point I'd say maybe 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we had walked there, and then we had walked back to the first main kind of hub that we have run into. So. Yep.
And then you made your way to this place. Okay.
Yep.
Right.
All right. That's about where I was thinking too, but I didn't want to get. I mean, I guess I could get weird if I wanted to, but that's where I'm at too. Okay. All right. So you might recall that you were coming down a hallway and that you can see broad sunlight shining into the next open space in front of you, and that you can also see some stairs leading upward in that open space. And this is all just like everything else in here, that same orange synth. So you were probably I don't know, maybe 7-8 meters away from that opening. So there's this little hallway, and then that opening into a wide open space. And in the midst of that space, you can see these stairs leading upward, but you cannot see where the stairs go to or what is at the top of the stairs, because the doorway does not, it blocks your view, the top of the doorway. What would you all like to do?
Well, I think we should step forward and see what where that light's coming from.
It is coming from the sun. You're certain of that. But okay, so do you want to?
Well, I'm assuming that if this is the courtyard, that it must be the central courtyard. Thus, if we saw that black lightning stuff or whatever it was coming from what we thought was the center of the building, that this is probably the source.
Probably the source. Yes. Yep. All right. So you want to, as a group, more or less, walk out into the sunlight there?
More or less.
Yes. Okay. All right. So as you do that, you see the stairs go upward to a sort of central platform. There is, in fact, the very thick, maybe a couple of meters wide, maybe like about 3 meters wide, band of blackness shooting straight up into the sky, or at least something as close to straight as you wouldn't care to know any better. And standing in front of that, there are 3 figures. They appear to be human, and they are just kind of milling about. One of them is standing off to the side, and 2 of them are I'm sorry, did I say 3 figures? I meant 4 figures. There are 3 figures close to the black thing, and one of them is standing off to the side. 2 of the group of 3 seem to be preparing the 3rd person. And just as you walk in, you can see that they kind of take this figure and lean them backwards into that black whatever it is. And as they do, you see the person fall into the blackness. But as they're falling in, you definitely see that their feet leave the ground. In fact, they appear to move upward at a really great rate of speed. And the other 2 people are standing there looking up at them as they're apparently moving upward in that blackness.
Do they scream carousel or anything like that?
They do not scream carousel.
Okay.
Another reference one would have to be over 50 to get, probably, but very good.
I've seen that movie.
Okay, all right. I went to see that at the drive-in with my parents when I was in 2nd grade, which was...
Oh, my God.
Oh,
what were your parents thinking?
Yeah, they also took me to see Blazing Saddles. Yeah. My dad was really into cool science fiction, which just gave me the basis for an entire career. So bless him. Thank you, Dad. Yeah.
Does this look like the same blackness that we saw around the drill?
Well, there's no question that this was the blackness, yeah, and the target that you've been moving toward ever since. While you stand there, the person who is off to the side turns away from the black pillar and actually sees you all there, and hollers to you. He's several, he's probably 20 meters away from you. It's a really large open space, but he hollers to you and he says, Hey, you brought the knowledge configuration. Bring it over here. And he starts gesturing to you to come up the stairs.
Does this seem like what we'd consider a typical person, or is this like one of the amber people? Like
this appears to be as regular a human as you would encounter. So
okay.
This is a person who has a very dark skin, but you encounter dark-skinned people and light-skinned people and all sorts of people. So he looks like a person. He's not like sort of, say, the strange orangish color that Silica is.
Speaking of Silica, Maurice will lean into him and be like, "Is that you? Are you the knowledge configurer?"
That is not my current designation.
Was it your prior designation?
Mission parameters block that information.
Maybe they're talking about the crab thingies.
Maurice shrugs. I'll she'll start walking over.
Okay. The figure at the top of the stairs is clearly happy to see you and is still kind of gesturing like, come over quicker. Come on.
Have we ever seen this person before?
You have never seen this person before. No.
Where are you from?
Where am I from? I'm from the South. Where are you from? Well, actually, I know where you're from. You're from Drive, right?
Yeah, wait, so you know Drive?
Yeah, we know Drive. Yes. So bring the knowledge configuration up here. Bring it up here.
What's that?
Right there, behind you.
She looks behind her, what he's gesturing at.
Silica is right behind you. Bring it up here.
No, I think that's really kind of Silica's choice of whether he wants to come up there.
No, just bring it up here. You brought it all this way. We need it up here. Bring it up here.
No.
And then he walks away and he turns, and now you can tell that he's kind of bent over and looking down, so that in this raised area apparently has a large hole in the middle of it. So he leans down and he says, "Those people from Drive, they brought the knowledge configuration. It's here. They got it here for us." And then he turns back to you and says, "Come on up here."
I don't trust you. She's going to go back to closer to Silica.
Well,
Silica hasn't moved.
He starts coming down to you all. And he says, it took you all a little while to get it up here. He looks at Silica. He comes up to Silica and he says, "There's a dock at the top of the platform. Go up to the dock and wait for their mission parameters." And then he starts talking to the rest of you. He says to Maurice, "Is everybody okay? You had that priest with you. Where did he go?"
He's wrapped up.
What do you mean he's wrapped up?
He got injured, so we took him to the medical facility.
Okay. All right. That's good. Okay.
Wait. So who are you? If you know about Drive, why is our machine busted?
I don't know anything about the machine being busted. I just know that Drive is that's that little village just to the south, right on the edge of the forest.
Yeah, and It used to run on a machine, but now it's not. And
yeah, you've got that big Drive there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So what are you doing here? I think you might have busted our machine.
No, we didn't mess with your machine at all. No, we're taking care of this. This is why you brought the knowledge configuration here, right?
No, we came here to fix our machine. So you should turn off whatever you're doing here, and maybe it'll fix our machine.
No, we can't turn off what we're doing here. This is the mission. We've been called to the mission. You were called to the mission too, right?
No.
By what?
What's the mission?
The mission is to go to the Isle of Automata.
What?
That
Where's
sounds
that?
interesting.
It's right up there, and he points to the sky.
Are you sure?
I am absolutely sure, yes.
Has anyone gone and come back?
Yes, yeah. Frith was there, and Barl was also there, but they've also gone back. So Krev and I are here, and in fact, we're pretty much the end of this. Tharum is I assume Tharum is going to come up on his own afterward. But you got the calling to come here, right?
No.
We just want
our drive got blown up, and
yeah.
And so we came here to see if this stuff shooting up in the sky was the cause of it. And now you're saying all this other stuff, and I don't understand it. It's making me mad.
What sent the calling?
Was it the gazers?
No, Solent called us.
Who's Solent?
Okay. All right. And then he turns around and he goes up the steps, and you can hear he's calling down into that hole. We're going to need you up here. We're going to need you up here pretty quick. Come on up here. And then he goes back down to you all, and he says, Tharm will be here in just a bit. Just he'll figure out what's going on. He'll figure this out for us.
All right.
Okay. So you didn't get the call from Solent.
Who's Soland? We just want the machinery to still work so everyone can have the mill and water and stuff.
I don't know. I know you had that mill down there. I saw you've got actually 2 mills down there. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, well, they're not working, so a lot less cool now.
Okay. All right. I don't know anything about that. But okay. But for now, let's just get the knowledge configuration up to the top of the platform. We need to put it on one of the docks up there.
She just looks at Silica.
So he's gonna get behind Silica and start to kind of push him up toward the steps.
Silica Silica doesn't budge, but he kind of looks at everyone else.
So would you guys help me? Would you give me a hand here, please? Give me a hand. And then he's really just leaning really into your back with a good shove.
If Silica wants to go, he can go.
Yes, he should go. Yes.
Why does he need to go there if you're already going to your island without him?
We've got a dock for him up there. He can go stand on the dock and then await the mission parameters. Just
what's going to happen if he stands on the dock?
It's a dock. The same thing that happens whenever any of the configurations go stand on the dock. They get recharged and they're fine. Just take him up to the dock. Let's go. Let's go.
Sketchy.
So after a moment, you see somebody is coming apparently up out of the hole. You can see at the top of this platform. First, one of those weird feline creatures. You remember the one that you fought with the gazers way back when, back in Drive. One of those things comes to the top of the platform from inside that hole. And then that's followed by this guy wearing blue robes and a pointy red hat. He calls down to Farmer and he says, bring them up here. Bring them up here and bring the knowledge configuration up here. It needs to be up here.
We're going to need a better explanation, I think, as to what the knowledge configuration is supposed to do up there and why we should help you.
There's a dock up here for the knowledge configuration.
Yeah, because there's a thing that goes with a thing doesn't mean I care.
It's a dock.
I know. What's it going to do?
It's going to help him. It'll re-energize him. And he can get new mission parameters.
What's your preference on this?
Have been waiting for new mission parameters. Have been in docks before. However, if a new mission comes in and it contradicts or does not run parallel to your current mission, I would have to undertake that mission. So I would not be able to continue helping you.
Okay. Well, how about you? All right, you guys with your calling. When did you turn this on?
When did we turn this on?
Yeah.
Oh, we turned this on. It was actually just yesterday morning.
Yeah, that busted our drive. You need to turn it off so that we can get the drive back.
Well, we didn't turn it on. We just tilted it up so it was pointing at the aisle. That's all. We just needed to tilt the energy source upward so it was pointing at the aisle. That's all we did. We didn't turn anything off.
Well, can you
you took away our energy
to tilt
source.
it back to our town?
No, we need to connect it to the aisle. This is how we can travel to and from the aisle, and this is how we can bring everything down from there.
Oh, well, what all's up there?
I don't know. I haven't been up, actually.
She looks at the other guy. Have you been up?
Who has?
Well, Tharm has been up there. Yeah, go talk to Tharm. Let's take the knowledge configuration up there and talk to Tharm. So he begins pushing on Silica again.
How about we talk to Tharm and then we can move the knowledge configurator?
Is
Fine.
there a place for us to be up there with Farm that doesn't automatically dock our friend?
Yeah, the dock is. So it's just there are several. You'll see the docks when you get up there. They're just like little round indentations on the top of that platform. You'll see them.
Right. Well, let's talk, and then we'll decide whether or not anyone's getting docked.
Okay, well then go talk to Tharm.
Fine.
So, with that first fine, Silica will just start moving. Like he's been completely immobile, and this guy's pushing on him. So Silica will just take a step forward and start moving, potentially taking that guy's like balance completely off.
Oh yeah, he very nearly does a complete lip skid, but catches himself before he goes all the way down. Yep.
And
You
walk up the
achieved
stairs.
you achieved vague humiliation for him.
Haha. Silica does not care about that.
He follows you all up. He follows you all up the stairs, or all of you who go up the stairs. Do you all go up there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So this guy in blue with the red pointy hat, he says, "Welcome. I'm happy to see that you made the journey successfully. Solent will be very, very happy to know that you have arrived, and we appreciate that you brought the knowledge configuration with you."
Thanks, I guess. Can you tell us a little bit more about what this island is and what you're doing?
Well, you've received the call from Solent too, right? You know all about the Isle.
No, we don't. We just are here because Drive is busted.
The Isle of Automata, up there. And he gestures up to the sky. He says, so we've been called to come up to the Isle and to begin the activation.
Activate what?
We're going to activate the automata up there.
Why?
Because Solent wants us to. I don't know everything.
All right, well, who's Solent?
Solent is the one who called us.
Yeah,
Solent is the one who called us, and he's up there on the Isle. You don't know anything about Solent, is what you're telling me.
No. So if he wants to talk to us, that would be cool. Like, is he an Aeon Priest? Is he an automata?
I don't know. I don't know what Solent is, and it doesn't matter what Solent is.
Well, why would we trust Solent?
Yeah, why do you trust Solent?
Because he called to us. Because
called
he called
to you
to
how?
us.
Like said, "Hey, come here and help me."
He spoke to us in our dreams.
Ooh, creepy.
I'm stunned that you were here and you did not heed the call. You're just
energy was pointed at the drive. The energy is no longer pointed at the drive.
Right. Oh yes, because we had to move the energy and tilt it toward the Isle. Yes.
Yeah, and that's a real
why
problem.
we're here. You took away our energy.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sorry that was a problem for you, and I don't know what to tell you about that. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, let's talk to Solent and see if you can, I don't know, what you're doing, if you can just get it done with, and then we can turn our drive back on.
Okay. Talking to Solent is not that easy. I can...
Dreams, right. Got it.
Well,
he's like physically there, right?
Yes, he is physically there at the Isle. Yes.
All right. Well, tell him to get down here and we'll talk to him.
I clearly am not physically there at the Isle talking to him, am I?
Well, you go then. Go to the Isle and say, "Hey, there's some people down here and they want to talk to you."
Just wait here a moment.
Okay.
He turns away and goes back to the other fellow, the fellow you haven't talked to yet, and the two of them are having a consultation.
As well, they're having a consultation where he's like, just shrugs her shoulders, like, these guys.
And then he comes back and he says, "Wait here for just one moment." And he goes down the steps, and you can see there's there's the column, the black column that is coming up through this platform, and it's at the edge at this one point where the three fellows were standing when you initially walked up. The column is right there at the edge and on the opposite side. But then to the immediate left and right of that, there are wide openings, like large openings and large stairwells that go down and down into a darkness you can't see where they go to.
Is it like a launch platform?
That's sort of what they were using it for, at least, right? That is to say, they seem to basically launch a guy into the beam when you walked up here. Yeah, that's pretty much what you saw. So Theron tells you, "Wait here. I'll be back in just a few moments." And he goes down the steps. And the two other fellows, Krev and Framir, basically just sort of stare at you uncomfortably, and they don't talk to you at all.
How long do you guys need this thing pointed to the sky?
You'll have to talk to Therum about that. Farmer tells you that.
What kind of automata are up there?
Oh, all kinds. It's quite remarkable, actually. There are literally hundreds of Guardian configurations, literally hundreds, and there are no knowledge configurations. That's why it's so exciting that you've brought us one, actually. So this will be the only knowledge configuration that we have.
Huh. Do you need the knowledge configuration to wake up the others?
I don't think so. I don't know. I just know that Solent wanted us to find the knowledge configuration. That was one of the things that he wanted us to be working on.
Are the other ones down there that look like silica the Guardian configurations?
Yeah, there are Guardian configurations at all the doors. They're guarding all the doorways into this facility.
Yeah. So, like, we fought some of them, and they were pretty mean. How do you know that this is a good idea?
Wait, you fought Guardians?
Yeah,
They didn't give us an option.
Yeah, they kind of stabbed our friend. Well, it broke his arm.
Yeah, you don't bear the sigil, do you?
No.
No, you don't. And then you notice that these two guys are both wearing like a identical curly metallic sort of pendants on a leather thong around their necks.
So good to know that that's what that's supposed to look like.
They just both give you like just weird glares, and now they seem really frustrated with you.
Yeah, I'm used to that.
Very good. So you continue to glare back at them?
Yeah.
Might as well.
Okay.
Sitting there mean mugging.
So Therum comes to the top of the stairs, and he has a guardian with him. He says, Krev, I want you to journey to the Isle. Prepare yourself. And Krev kind of gets a little pale, and he just says yes, and turns his back to the column, and you see them do the thing that you watched when you came in here. Krev crosses his arms over his chest, and Framir gets on one side, and Therum gets on the other side, and they sort of lean him backwards, and he gasps, and they push him back into the column, and you see his feet go off the ground, but then his feet are sucked up into the column, and you can't see anything at all because the column is the blackest color of black, and Krev is gone.
Is he coming back?
I suppose he will. Either that or Solent will come back. We'll get some instructions from Solent, I suppose. I suppose Krev will get some instructions from Solent.
When?
It takes a little while to make the journey.
How long?
Perhaps it will be. It's about an hour to get there. So we should expect it'll be at least a couple of hours before he shows up again. There's a lot of acceleration and deacceleration.
There's not a whole lot else that we need to do until he gets back?
Well, we need to get the knowledge configuration onto the dock.
Yeah, but we need to know what that's going to do before we do that.
What I know is that when the knowledge configuration enters the dock, then the knowledge configuration will be recharged, and the knowledge configuration will get new mission parameters. So,
and that's something that you want to do, right, Silica? Even though it may mess up what we may or may not be doing.
It is something that I must do at some point. I'm simply saying, if I am reconfigured, then my new mission may not align with your goals. I have learned many things from my time in Drive, and I can tell that you are all very nervous. So I have learned that when more than 50% of available humans are very nervous, one should tread with caution.
That's
Yeah,
true.
that seems like decent advice.
Therum says, Krev, come with me below. The Guardian is still standing there at the top of the stairs. Therum and that feline automaton go downstairs. Kreb follows them.
Is there a way I can like sneak after them?
The guardian is at the top of the stairs, so the question would be, how would you propose to sneak past the guardian? I'm not saying no. I'm just saying that's a question.
No, that's fair. Could I basically try to like get someone who's taller than me, like kind of like subtly reposition ourselves so that, like we're talking, but like be backing so that like basically the guardian's view is to like Rupert's back and then like crouch down.
I'm to run a screen for you.
Yeah, basically.
How do you want to do it?
Well, so she'll like lean in and be like, "Can one of you guys make a maybe distraction? I could try sneaking after them and see what they're talking about when we're not around."
Sure.
Or maybe wait, can you talk to your animals? Do they like talk to you? Because maybe you could send one of them back down.
Less talk and more
How
communicate.
big is the area that we're at?
So the platform area is, I would say about like 20 meters square, right? So 20 meters on a side. And then it's pretty like the width of the platform area is pretty thick on the sides that actually butt up against the column of energy, right? And then it's thinner on the other two sides. So there's this open area on the other side of the column, like sort of when you came in, if you were facing it when you came in, the right side of the column has this open area, and the left side where you're standing now also has this open area, except there is a steep staircase that goes down into this open area here. And that's where the guardian is standing at the top of the staircase.
Well, since we're in theory waiting here for a while, and I got this instant shelter, that's 10 feet by 10 feet by 20 feet. I'm not sure which direction the 20 feet is. I assume up?
I think that's up, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, it's a pretty tall shelter, but that's how I would take that.
Yeah, it seems weird, but that's the way I'm reading it.
It allows for very tall hats.
Yeah. I'm thinking of just plopping this down. Since we're gonna, if we have to wait hours for them to come back, we have somewhere to kick our heels up and, conveniently have a structure with which to sneak around behind.
That's definitely a thing that could happen, yeah.
Are the weird little hermit crab things still with us?
You haven't seen them for a while.
Okay. Have any of these guys paid attention to Scoosh?
No, they have not.
Okay. I would like to use link senses.
All right. Describe how that goes for us. What is that skill?
So it's just one of my abilities that's going to cost me 2 intellect points. I touch a willing creature and link its senses to mine for a minute, and any time during that duration, I can concentrate to see, hear, and smell what that creature is experiencing instead of using my senses. If I or the creature move out of long range, the connection is broken. So basically, while everybody's discussing things after Sam's character asks me if I can talk to my... Yeah, Maurice asks me if I can talk to my pets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put a hand on Scoosh, who's been sitting on my shoulder, close my eyes, and just start muttering. And then after a few moments, I'll say I'm ready and send Scoosh off to follow those guys.
Okay. Scoosh goes down. Is Scoosh flying or crawling down the stairs? Flying?
Right. Whichever looks like it'll cause less intrusion.
Probably flying would be less intrusive, because that way he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to like go. He can go behind the guard and down, as opposed to like between the guard's legs or something like that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So he goes down the stairs, and it looks dark from up here, but it's actually kind of a dimly lit area. He goes down probably about 10 meters or so. It's not very deep down there, but there's just another chamber down in that area. He can see that the black column is coming all the way down here, and there is kind of an orange, almost like an urn shaped thing that you see, kind of like a big orange bowl that the black column is coming out of, and he can see that the two guys are standing there talking to each other, and that feline creature is walking around. You also see something that looks like maybe a map tacked to the wall. There are about 5 or 6 cots down here. This seems to be a place where they're living. There's a table where they've been eating, and they just seem to have made a camp down here in this zone. The hum that you associate with the drive is loud up at the top, and you can hear it constantly because of the column. But down in this space, the hum is even louder because it's right here.
Am I able to hear them?
Yeah, you can. If you want him to go right over to them, you can hear that Therum is saying, I don't understand this at all. I don't understand. If they didn't receive the dreams, I don't understand why they brought the knowledge configuration to us. I thought Solon had summoned them, but we've got the knowledge configuration, so that's what we need. I think the only thing we need to do is get the knowledge configuration to dock, and if not that, then get him to the Isle. That's all we need to do. Faramir is just sort of standing there staring. Faramir is in way over his head, basically.
So the general gist of what I got from that is they're trying to send silica to the, or send the knowledge configuration to the Isle.
They really want me to dock, or they want me to go to the Isle.
It's up to you.
All right, I will call Scoosh back.
Okay. Just before the minute is up, you call Scoosh back, and after a bit, you see he comes up the stairs behind the guard and takes his position on your shoulder again. The Guardian configuration seems completely unaware of any of that happening.
Yeah. So I'll basically repeat what I was able to hear.
The Guardian.
So really, it's up to you. If you want to do it, that's fine. If you don't want to do it, we'll back you up. If your new parameters don't align with what we're trying to do, we'll figure out another way to get the drive to power back on.
Is that how you all feel?
Yeah. At least how I feel.
I'm very dubious about this whole operation, but I'm worried about what they think your parameters will be and what they intend to do with all the automata up there.
It appears that they have very little information. They appear to be acting on very little information.
Yes, I'm less, I guess, nervous about the information of the people we've talked to so far, and more about their boss who's sending them visions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe he's some cool, awesome mystic, and maybe he's like an evil dude who's hypnotizing them.
He could be both.
Yeah, an awesome evil mystic. It's possible. Very possible.
Exactly.
Well, most of the time when there's a reconfiguring, there is some additional information or to simplify missions. I may learn something useful. But once again, the parameters could be anything.
Like, could it be you have to beat us all up?
It could be. I am allowed to disclose that my previous mission did not involve violence.
Mm-hmm.
That is why I am armed.
Right. Well, your call. If you think you want to do it, then do it. Otherwise, we could try to wait and see what happens when they come down from their little trip and if they can give us more information.
Very well. I can wait.
Should we send somebody to go check on Galen?
That seems like a reasonable idea.
Yeah, but don't cut him open again. That was gross.
And heck, if he's back to consciousness, we could maybe use his advice.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
What are y'all
hey.
doing here?
Hey, you guys. I call to those guys.
The guys down in the hole?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Can somebody go check on our companion Galen back in the medical facility? He might have some better insight onto what's going on.
All right. Farmir comes back up to the top of the stairs and he says, What do you need? What?
Our friend. He's back in the medical bay. Can you send somebody to go check and see if he's okay? Maybe bring him here?
Where is the medical bay?
Yeah, follow the blue lights.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You guys are the ones who have been here longer than we have.
Well, we haven't found any medical bay. So whatever it is you're talking about, I don't know where it's at. You'll just have to show me where it is or go there yourself.
Fine. I stomp off in the direction of the medical bay.
Okay. There aren't any blue lights. So the blue lights were from the entrance, that lit up and then gave you a pathway to the medical bay. And then once you arrived, the blue lights extinguished themselves.
Yeah, I think Maris was putting down some chalk.
Yep, there are chalk marks on the walls that will, if you remember how those work, and we can assume that you do from just a few minutes ago, that you can find your way back to the medical bay fairly easily.
All right. Did anybody go with me? All right. I'm now in the medical bay by myself.
All right. So you see in the medical bay those platforms, one of which has a cocoon on it, and there is also the automaton that stitched the cocoon up. It's just standing over against the wall, looking pretty inert, and there is the cocoon there on the slab.
I knock on the cocoon.
It is rigid, and you knock, and nothing happens.
Can you hear me?
No response.
Hey, robot.
No response.
Robot.
Does nothing.
Do I see any lights flashing? Is there any indicator on, like, percentage complete or anything like that?
Nope, there's no indicator, no anything. There's no screen, no nothing. There's no little lights on the automaton. There's nothing visibly happening in this room except that the lights came on when you entered. They slowly pulled up to light the room in a comfortable level.
Guess he's not done yet. So I'll go. I guess I'm not going to be pulling on anything because I know the horrors that happened last time. So I will just go back to the space.
Okay.
And look at everybody and say, well, he's still in the cocoon, and I wasn't going to try to open him up like last time because that was pretty unsettling, even for me.
Yeah, it didn't look so great for him either.
Yeah. So I have no idea what his condition is or when he'll be done or if he'll ever show up. Yeah. So there we go.
So it took you about 30, 35 minutes have passed since Krev went up in the column there.
Since we know you said it was gonna take about an hour.
About an hour to get there, about an hour to get back.
Okay. Can I just take a rest?
You can always take a rest.
Cool.
Which rest are you at?
I'm at the hour one.
You're at the hour one. So yeah, if you wanna rest for an hour, that is a thing you can do. I don't have you down much though. I've only got you down by
5.
3. 5? Okay. All right.
Yeah. I spent 2 more off of
Oh, that's right.
things. Okay. So I maxed back out.
All right. Good job. Congratulations. All right.
Well, if we've got nothing else to do, I'm gonna tend to the wounds.
Anybody else need an hour rest?
I'm good.
Would they let me kind of wander around and maybe familiarize myself with the area?
Yeah, if you wander off, nobody seems to be stopping you.
All right.
They seem to be, significantly understaffed at the moment.
I think I will spend an hour, just basically getting lay of the land and basically tallying up some, tactical insight into the area.
All right, as long as you don't go down the stairs into the area that Scoosh explored, right? The Guardian would stop you if you and very gently stop you if you went down, if you tried to go down the stairs. But anywhere else, what in particular are you looking for? Anything? I mean, I know you.
Yeah,
Well, I can tell you whether you found cool stuff or not.
Well, if there's cool stuff to find, sure, I'll look around and see if there's any interesting Numenera.
Well, you can explore and look for some Numenera. In fact, I'll tell you what, roll a d6 for me.
All right, 4.
Okay, we can say that while you're wandering around, you actually do find a room that has just kind of weird odds and ends in it. Although everything seems to be kind of weird odds and ends in this place, right? And you do find 4 ciphers there, and in addition to that, you also find
An artifact?
an artifact. Thank you very much. My God, that was really sad. That I was like, my brain was totally toasted there for a minute. Yes, an artifact. Thank you very much. So yeah, give yourself just make this note. You have artifact B, and you also have 4 ciphers, and these are ciphers J, K, L, and M. How many ciphers are you carrying now, though?
I do got 2, so I can't really pick any up. I kind of feel like go ahead and using the instant shelter would probably not be a bad idea. So I think I'll try to find a good, 10 foot by 10 foot area that is maybe out of the way from disrupting anything that they're doing, but could maybe be a good strategic location,
something to hide behind.
Yeah, or maybe within like a defensible.
Okay, do you want to put it like out in the courtyard area, or do you want to put it up on the platform, or in like sort of back inside the structure thing?
Where did I find all these ciphers and artifact at?
You just kind of wandered through one of the doorways that lead off the courtyard and back into the structure, and like the second room you looked in was kind of full of weird junk. Well, not full of, but it had some weird junk in it.
Yeah,
4 of which seem to be ciphers.
I will make a structure in the courtyard and kind of make that a base camp and maybe obstruct the pathway that I found the stuff in, so that we can gather up whatever we get, and
okay,
if they care, then that way maybe they won't know.
We can say, as I recall, the structure does not specify the number of doors on it, so you could say that there are 2 doors, and one of them is.
It does say a door and a transparent window.
Oh, okay. Darn it. All right, never mind. I was going to let you have the back door walk into the thing there, but okay, sorry. Well, never mind. But you can mostly put it in front of that entryway.
Yeah.
If you want to do that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, just kind of make it look like I'm making a space in the courtyard there, and
that's where Rob is resting.
Yeah.
Is there? I don't recall. Do some of you have? Is everybody equipped with as many ciphers as they can possibly carry?
At the moment, yes.
No, I've got space for 1.
Yeah.
Okay. So Marisa has space for 1, and Osford has space for 1 now.
I got space for 1 too, because I took this pill.
Right. Okay.
Not to mention, I also got an invisibility ring that I could burn if we really need to get somewhere without them knowing.
All right. So there are 4 ciphers back in that room, and I assume you grabbed the artifact, right?
Yeah.
Good. That's good. Do you want to? One of the things you could do is talk to Silica, perhaps, about identifying these.
Yeah, I think I'll have to. I'll basically go back to the group. It's like, hey guys, I made us a little camp while we wait, and kind kind of get them all in there, and then give Silica that thing to go, hey, what do you make of this?
All right. So you need to make an intellect action, and its difficulty level is going to be 6. So that's going to be your target is 18.
Okay. Let's negotiate that down. Does me being trained in understanding Numenera lower that, or is that like the only thing that lets me do this at all?
We'll say that lowers it, so that'll make it level 5. So your target is now 15.
Okay, and I also have a book about Numenera
Okay,
that I
that's
can reference.
very good. So unlock it down to level 4. Your target is now 12.
All right, let's try that because I'm about out of points. So
You are really low on intellect points.
so difficulty 4, you said?
Yep. So your target is 12. You got it.
Yay!
Well done. Very good. All right.
All
So
right.
you identify. Let's see. Where is the? This is a launcher. It is a level 6 object. It is a metal tube with a set of winding synth tubes wrapped around it. This device launches anything about the size of a fist or smaller with great force to very long range. An inert object, such as a rock, inflicts the artifact's level in damage. A detonation cipher or similar explosive can also be launched to activate on impact. And its depletion is 1 in 1d20. So I see Sam and Rodrigo over there. So whoever wants that can take it and put it on. Now, this is not a cipher, so this does not count against anybody's cipher load. And this is not a one shot. This is an object that depletes. So you make a depletion roll, which is a d20, and if the roll is a 1, then the object is depleted.
All right. Silica will explain that along with probably some extra stuff like this probably wasn't meant to be a weapon. There's supposed to be some sort of like magnetic catcher device at the other end of the arc. But, obviously it will just launch something at a prodigious speed.
Oh, wow.
Neat.
Anyone mind if I hold on to this?
Go for it.
Ah, sweet.
Did you grab an extra cipher, Brian?
I'm going to say no.
You grabbed your own cipher? Or you haven't?
Yeah, nobody's been back to that room yet. So
Okay,
when he was
found
there, just pull
a
up.
few other things in there too, but basically let them know that there's a number of ciphers in there.
Do you all want to go back to the room so that Silica could identify the ciphers, or do you want to bring them out?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yep.
Okay, Anam, I'm assuming you're going to stay here in the shelter and keep resting, right?
That's the plan.
All right. Okay. All right. So I told you that you had ciphers.
It was
J, K, L, and M. Is that correct?
Yes,
All right.
that's correct.
Okay.
I'm not wondering, should I really be holding the artifact that requires you not to roll a 1 to not use up?
When you have to roll below
for
the
comedy purposes, 100%.
you're supposed to roll at or below the number, or is it at or above the number?
If he rolls a 1, it's gone. You're done with
Oh,
it.
okay. And hold on to it. I'd rather you have it than the potential reprogrammed robot that's going to kill us all.
I already have 2 separate ranged weapons
Oh, okay.
built into me, so I don't
All right.
I don't need a third one
You don't need a third one to kill us.
to kill you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just set a difficulty of 1 or 2, and these difficulties are all going to be 2s.
Okay.
There are these 4 ciphers. I will describe them to you. The first is a canister containing a silvery shapeable clay. The second is a single boot with a device attached to it. The one after that is a wristband projector. And the other one is a weird kind of handheld device, kind of gun looking.
I'll set about identifying each of them.
All right. First, the canister containing a silvery shapeable clay. Give me a roll. Your target is going to be 6. Give me a d20 with a 6 or better.
Okay. That's with my...
Oh, no, actually, because you've got stuff. So if you want to if you want to
train in
use-
identifying Numenera, and also I have a book about the
all right,
Numenera.
so that's going to make it basically a no roll. So you get them.
Okay.
Yeah, you
So
can.
yeah, just take some time to like look at each of them.
All right,
Reference
so
Silica's book.
the first one is called Shape Metal. That is the canister containing a silvery shapeable clay. It is a metallic clay that can be shaped and greatly expanded to create individual tools or objects, such as a hammer, a ladder, a basic structure, such as a wall, bench, floor, staircase, and so on, as long as the total volume created could fit in a 10-foot or a 3-meter cube. Once formed, the structure or objects are permanent. Okay, the next one is Trailblazer. That's the single boot with attached device. The effect is for the next 28 hours, each time the boot touches down on solid ground, it deposits a patch of nanites that mark the area with a symbol. Anytime before the duration expires, the wearer and up to one other person that can be carried along can use an action to instantly teleport back to any of these symbols. The teleportation effect brings the cipher's duration to an end. Then there is the wristband projector, which is a flash detonation. It bursts in an immediate radius, binding all within it for 1 minute. 10 minutes if the cipher is level 4 or higher, and this one is level 5. So it will bind everyone in this flash zone for 10 minutes.
It'll blind them, right?
Blinding. Sorry, I said binding. You know what I meant. Yeah, it's very good. It's good. Actually, in fact, you did know what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Binding. Gee whiz. All right. Ray emitter is a paralysis ray. That's the handheld device, the little gun thing. It allows the user to project a ray of energy up to very long range that paralyzes the target for 1 minute. A small number of these devices, 5%, induce paralysis that lasts for 1 hour. So if we want to know if it's one of these devices, 5% is before you use it, we'll roll a d20. And if you roll a 20, then you've got the 1 hour paralysis device.
Okay.
Ciphers are so cool.
Yeah. So Silica will go and identify these, and in a similar way, will have some additional kind of not relevant to like the wild adventure of Numenera type stuff, but definitely something like the ray emitter is itself probably some sort of communication tool between machines. Or as a person can like point it and talk to like a specific type of machine, which we haven't run into, but you can just point it at someone's head and it'll paralyze them because the ray's so concentrated. That's another thing that Silica has learned. It's like when you tell humans what ciphers do or why they are the way they are, they're like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then if you tell them how they can use it to like survive a monster attack or zap something or move somewhere, then they're a lot more interested. So Silica's been working on leading with that, with that information.
I'd take either the detonation flash or the ray emitter.
Yeah, pick one. It doesn't sound like anybody's...
I think I'm much better with my hands, and also I've got a couple of cool Numenera that I have yet to use yet.
All right, I've grabbed the ray emitter.
And those trailblazers sound pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds very in character for Osford.
I'll take that. Barring any objections. I mean, I was thinking about the shape metal I could use to make rooms for this hut, but
well, we're good news, everybody. We're moving into this hut.
Yes,
we've blown two ciphers on it.
We've abandoned drive.
Rooms in the second level.
I'll take the shape metal since I'm not much good at landing attacks that aren't brain-based. And then, does anybody have room for the last one?
Nope.
You could always trade one out if somebody wants that. But I'm guessing, Rob, you don't want it?
Unless we think we're going to exclusively spend the rest of our time here in this building, I think the Eagle's Eye is pretty useful.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and the frigid wall projector is really cool.
I'm not planning on spending the rest of my life in this tent.
It's a very nice tent.
Yeah, so to avoid any potential issues, Silica will like label what the cipher is, and then like walk back to like the entrance of the courtyard and then just like toss it into a room
Okay.
so that it doesn't come into contact with anything else by accident.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yes, I do have one other mechanical question.
What you got?
Does the launcher, does it seem like it'd be a heavy weapon?
I don't think it would count as a heavy weapon. No.
Good, because I'm not good at this.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's just long, but it's not like a no. It's just a regular. I mean, it's actually even a stretch to call it a weapon, right? I mean, it just is a thing that will shoot fist-sized rocks and stuff, right?
Because I mean, the image that immediately springs to my mind is a junket launcher from Fallout. But
yes, it really is, isn't it? Wow, yeah. It had not occurred to me, but that's exactly what this is. Wow,
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Kill someone with a teddy bear.
yeah, garden gnomes.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you all want to do next? Sit tight and wait for whoever comes down the chute there.
I think so.
Yeah, I think if we killed this much time messing around, then we'll just
All
wait
right.
the rest of the time.
All right, sounds good to me.
Plus, if I'm using the book, that requires a fair amount of time.
It does, yeah. I was just going to hand wave the using of the book time, but yeah, I mean, if
we like smush it all together, it's still probably a significant amount of time.
Yeah, and so we could say it's just a few more minutes before Krev comes back down the thing. So you guys realize it's approaching 2 hours since Krev left. If you want to wait here inside the shelter and see what happens, or do you want to go out and see Krev's arrival on the platform there?
Yeah, Silica will walk out.
I definitely want to see Krev come back.
Okay, all right. So you don't really notice anything, and then suddenly Krev just kind of pops out of the column and is standing there, looking kind of weirdly disoriented. He looks around. Faramir and Therum have come up out of the lower area, and so they're standing on the platform there with the Guardian configuration. And they watch him. They kind of go over to him, and they consult for a minute, and then the three of them begin looking up at the column, like they're just sort of looking up expectantly at the column. You notice weirdly, just at the split second before the next figure arrives, you do realize that you see their foot sticking out of the column, and then their foot lands on the platform. They're coming down not rapidly, like if you were falling that fast, it would. It's not like a fall, right? It's it's just kind of their foot is coming down and it lands there on the platform, and they pop out. And so this is just another of these guys. He's looking around, and then they all look back up again, and you see kind of a bit of cloth. Some blue cloth coming down, and when the blue cloth arrives there, much like the last guy's foot, a figure comes out from the column, and it's a bizarre looking figure. Do you imagine a human being draped in a weird cloak? A cloak that is kind of weirdly mottled black and blue. So there's just these kind of weird black and blue patches on the cloak, and the cloak goes all the way down to the ground, like shoulders. You can imagine the figure's shoulders, very broad, very wide shoulders, and then this cloak is just falling straight down off of the shoulders, and there is a head on this figure, but the head appears to be completely encased in some kind of helmet that's also black and blue mottled synth. And then there's a glowing central. You might imagine that it's an eye, although you don't know for sure that it's an eye. It's just kind of where you would expect an eye to be. The figure doesn't move right, so it kind of walks where you would imagine to be walking around on the platform, but this is also more of a weird kind of glidey motion on the platform, and it approaches Therum and appears to be having a conversation with him, but you can't hear what they're saying. Therum then gestures to you all, and the figure turns and looks at you, and clearly you get the sensation that this yellow glowing central light thing is some kind of an eye that is examining you. The figure turns, or it's maybe more proper to say that it kind of pivots in a strange way and moves across the platform, comes down the steps. Again, in just kind of a really disconcertingly artificial kind of way. It's as if the figure kind of moves outward and then down, and then outward and then down, and then outward and then down for each of the steps. It's like each step is two separate actions that it seems to be consciously doing, rather than the way you would expect a person would descend steps. And the figure comes over to you. It's pretty tall. It's probably 2.5 meters tall. I mean, this is a very, very large figure, very broad shoulders, and it comes over directly to Silica. In fact, if anybody is kind of standing between Silica and this creature, it just goes around them to get as close as it can to Silica and is examining Silica, looking down at Silica. And it simply says, "Who are you?"
Designation is Silica.
Who are you?
Designation is Silica. Is additional information necessary?
Additional information is required. And it makes a weird kind of it's a weird kind of grunting sigh that probably indicates something, but you have no idea what.
Silica suspects that it's annoyance, which he gets a lot from humans when he doesn't tell them as much information as they apparently need. So he says, my designation is Silica. I was sent here on a mission, which I completed. Was awaiting further instructions or new mission, or return to the Isle of Automata. I was found by the citizens of a human settlement called a Drive, and I have been helping them until new instructions arrive.
Approach the dock for new mission parameters.
Silica takes like a couple steps towards it, and then he kind of like stops himself and looks back at the others. It's like
Marie's like kind of shrugs, says, "It's your call."
Yes, I believe I must do this, but once again, you should all prepare yourselves for the possibility that my new mission will simply will run counter to yours or not have anything to do with yours, and I will no longer be able to help you.
If you try to attack us, we'll defend ourselves, but I'll be sad about it.
Understandable. And yep, Silica will just slowly, in his own way, like he's not trying to like slow it down, he just moves slowly. But yep, Silica will walk up to the dock and basically stand in the dock, which I'm guessing fits perfectly in the same kind of like in the same stance the way that he always stands.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a 30-pin connector, and you need USB-C.
Yeah.
No, the connection is clearly successful. You feel as close to euphoria as Silica can feel, and a wave of energy passes through your entire being. You feel absolutely rejuvenated. In fact, all of your pools are refilled automatically.
So I can kill them.
And
I mean, I meant to mute myself there.
and every action you take will be one step easier for the next 4 hours.
All right.
You do not feel anything different as far as your motivations or your drive or your needs.
No firmware updates.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything, or if there was a change, you can't perceive what it was, and you don't have new mission parameters at all.
Okay.
Nothing has changed in that regard.
Did I get any new information? Do I know anything more about these guys or the machine that seems to transport you to the Isle of Automata?
No, this seems to have simply given you an energy refill, and that is all that happened. So you have no new intellectual sensibility or knowledge of anything.
Do I get a sense that I was scanned?
That you were scanned? No, you didn't notice anything like that.
Okay.
This is about the equivalent of recharging your iPhone, but maybe much better,
Right,
and much more pleasant. Yeah,
it's like resetting it to factory and then downloading all your apps again.
Yeah. Also, the rests that you took are also reset, so it's for the mechanics of the game.
Okay.
So your next rest will only need to be the little breather rest.
After all that, I don't know what that looked like to anybody else, but there probably was some weird rippling because Silica's body is not like completely solid clay. There was also like Silica has some like stuff implanted, like he has a cipher in his belly button and a cipher on his hand or on his arm. So those probably shuffled around in a weird way before like resettling back in. But yep, then Silica just steps out and says, "Process complete."
So the large figure looks down at you and says, "New mission parameters have been installed," and then turns away from you.
Okay.
He turns to the other people in the group and says, "Thank you for bringing the knowledge configuration. It will be of much service to us. You may leave."
We still want to fix drive.
That is not relevant to what I need you to do. I need you to leave now. It is time to leave.
We need to fix the thing before we can leave.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to suffer if that isn't fixed.
Is there any sort of like control panel?
Scoosh didn't notice any control panel, and if Anna wants to reflect back to that memory of Scoosh being down below, the sort of cauldron thing from which this black column is coming was being propped up by just some random pieces of wood and synth. So it seems to have been propped rather carefully, but not this
Not permanently.
clearly. Yeah, is not a permanent sort of configuration. This is just some guys put this together to make it happen.
Silica will walk up to, what is the name of the big guy?
He is not given his name yet.
Oh, I thought we were talking to. I thought they had given us their name.
Now this guy is Solent, who was communicating with these people, but he is not given his name to you yet.
Okay. Silica will walk up to him and say, "Query: how long does this system need to remain available?"
This system
To
will
the Isle.
The system will remain available indefinitely. This grants us access to move to and from the Isle.
Can you just use it, like, I don't know, at night when we don't need the drive as much?
I do not find that acceptable. This is the system, and we have engaged it. This is the system that we use to move to and from the Isle.
By engaged, you mean propped up with a bunch of scrap?
He kind of turns or pivots rather abruptly and looks at Therum, who kind of shrugs his shoulders. And then he turns back to you and says, I had understood that this was not propping with scrap, but if that is the case, then indeed that is the case. And then he pivots back and gives as much of a cold glare as a completely lifeless helmet with a glowing light in the center of it could give a person. And Thurb seems to shrink a smidge.
Perhaps there is a way to siphon excess energy and direct it back towards drive.
So are you suggesting that the energy column be redirected toward the place you came from? Is that what you were telling me?
The suggestion that I made is that perhaps it can be both. If there is a chance that some amount of excess energy or backup energy is being transmitted through it, and perhaps there is a way, since connectors clearly already exist to point this energy towards drive, maybe there is a way to simply pull some of that excess energy into the connectors towards drive or antenna or whatever it is. And then this portal could remain open and the drive could remain operational.
You would fracture the beam. You would fracture the column? Is that your suggestion?
Yeah,
Yes.
and he's the knowledge conduit, so you better listen to him.
Well, knowledge configuration. What do you propose to do exactly?
I must analyze this system. And I must have access to the notes that he looks at them. And like the only word he really knows for that kind of thing is priest. It's like, I need the information that your priests have gathered on it.
Yes. Priest. Priest. Let us examine what you have done with the column. And he begins to go down the stairs into the space in the raised area. And again, with this bizarre forward, down motion. It takes a little longer than you would want. He's going way too deliberately down these steps. And also has to to avoid banging his head on the what would be the landing there.
Sure.
He has to sort of scrunch down in a weird way that basically just doesn't seem to do anything except cause his robe to pile up below him. So he clearly makes himself shorter, but not
like
by
he shrinks like a bendy straw.
Yeah.
Like collapses, like some part
Yeah.
of him like collapses down.
Yeah, he doesn't bend
I
over.
see.
He just becomes shorter. Yeah, he collapses down. And when you get down to the space, you see the space very much as Anam described Scoosh's perception of it. The hum from the column is pretty loud down here. You can still talk, but it's just present, and it's not an unpleasant hum by any means. It is a soothing hum for all of you, humans and automata alike. It's a very pleasant sound. There's a map on the wall that, if you examine it, you can see that this building is indicated. The forest is there. The village of Drive is labeled as Drive on it, and there's just a little designation there. There are some other indicators around but they are unlabeled. So there's just like some sort of star asterisk things also in the forest, but further north of this structure, as you can tell on this map.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything relevant about the spacing? Is it like geometrical? Are all these things equidistant, or are they just like very random?
No, they seem to be equidistant. In fact, if you look at it, it looks, you can count up that there are 6 things equidistant from this structure, and Drive just seems to be the southern of those. So in fact, if you Drive is like at the 6 o'clock position, right?
Right.
But then there are others almost in like a hexagram around it.
Okay. Who all came down?
I think I followed at least.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely followed.
Yeah, I
So,
went too because
yeah.
I've got to protect Osford.
Yeah. So, yeah, everybody came down. Okay. So, Silica will point at the map, like point at at the center of it, where we're at right now. And he'll look at Osvert and then point at all the other places.
Asking if I recognize those.
No, he's just like, oh yeah, I guess you would just ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, no, I want you to note them for your own travels, or if Drive needs to venture out to those places.
All right. I'll make a mental note and even a physical one, assuming I have the time and the capability.
Silica will like pull out his book and like flip through some pages and basically start analyzing the structure and like knocking on it, and then he'll like pause and like close his book and walk back to the group and be like, oh yes, no major conflicts in the new parameters.
Oh, that's
Great! And Maurice will like hug Silica. I was really afraid I was going to have to break you.
Yeah, Rupert just slides his 6-inch rod back into his...
Your indestructible rod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Silica does like a pat, which he's been told is like the correct way to respond when somebody hugs him, and says, yes, it is good that we do not have to be in conflict. I will now look at this machine and see if there's anything I can do to revert some of this power to Drive. Anyone who wants to help is welcome to do it.
So you can see that, by the way, that on the south wall of this room there is a large hole. So it is clearly, if you were to simply tip this thing and point the column to that hole, that would probably reach Drive.
Yeah, I feel like in the world of Numenera, there's like this thing just happens at like every conceivable level. Like it's like, here's this like enormous beam of light that only seems to be making like a little thing spin. It's like, but you can use this beam to like teleport to another planet or whatever. It's like there's just always this thing where it's like, oh, this is the thing that's keeping the lights on this facility done. Also, it's a bomb like that's like equivalent to like, like 70 megatons or something like that. Or also, despite the fact that it provides energy, if you put it in water, it drains all the water. Where does the water go? We don't know. Right? There's just like all kinds of stuff like this.
Yeah, the whole world is made up of this kind of thing. Yeah.
Right.
Or weird tubes that will launch an object at a great speed for a very long distance. Yeah.
I told you, we just need to find the mitt. But yeah, okay, so Silica will like peek in and analyze the metal or whatever's lining the hole. I'm guessing it's like basically a port. Like it's not it's not just like a like bare stone or anything like that.
Yeah, so it's a synth that seems to be like, yeah, there's something peculiar about this. Is not the orange synth inside this hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is a peculiar lining to this, but it's not something that you're familiar with.
Okay. So yeah, Silica is just gonna get to a studying and comparing notes, and yeah, we'll see if he can figure something out.
All right. Well, you're going to need to make an intellect roll.
Okay.
And it's going to be a pretty extraordinary intellect roll that you're going to need to make.
Well,
What can any of us do to help out with it?
Yeah, exactly.
I will yell encouraging words. You can do it.
learn, Silica, learn.
So this is an intimidating task, right? So it's a level 6 task. It is your target number is 18. And so tell me exactly what it is. Like in your wildest dreams, what would really solid success look like here?
Really solid success would be ascertaining that there is, in fact, like this thing puts out more energy that it needs to be a conduit to the Isle of Automata. So excess energy can basically be routed to this, basically back towards the drive. Maybe there is a way to simply sort of like run a connector through, and the synth in this tube is itself like a conductor. So we don't need to actually shoot a beam into this, or potentially we just figure out a way to bend some of this energy in that direction, or potentially we point this towards drive and then make some sort of refraction device that points some of it back up, like depending on what ends up happening, right? And like absolute success would be the robots can get up and down, and also the drive is restored, like the motion of the drive is restored.
Okay. That is an intimidating task.
Okay.
Let's see how close you can come to success. So your target is 18 on the basis. You say you have understanding Numenera, which is a skill that will knock this down to level 5, a challenging task.
Okay.
You're going to study in your book, as you said, so that will also knock this down to a level 4, a difficult task. So your target now is only 12 to come to a fairly good solution to this problem.
Sure.
But you're only going to get one shot at it, though.
Right. So yeah,
Shouts
if I
of
can,
encouragement won't help.
I mean, there probably is stuff that either the team can do, if not individually, then maybe collectively, like essentially just making yourselves useful, maybe.
Yeah, like I'm trained in identifying today, which is not really like a probably as relevant here, but I could maybe like use my adaptability skill to try to like figure this out really quickly.
Well, you could. I'll give you this nudge. I will give you the opportunity to identify the strange material that is inside that tube.
Oh, sure. That seems reasonable.
Yeah, that's going to be a challenging task. So that's going to be a level 5 task, but you're trained in identifying. So that will put it down to a difficult task of 12.
Well, I'll spend some effort on that for sure.
All right.
So
how many levels of effort are you going to spend?
I only have effort 1.
That's right. That was Stephen who took the effort too. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I'll spend my 3 points, right?
Okay, and you have no edge in intellect, so yep, you will spend 3 points. All right. So you've got it down to a demanding task. Your target number is 9.
All right. Oh, here we go.
I was going to say, is there any chance I could leverage my salvaging Numenera specialty to locate any lost or replacement for broken components?
Same question, except for my scavenging talent training.
You could do that after, if Silica identifies that something is needed, you might be able to do that task.
Yeah. Are we? So this role just to kind of like lay down a plan of action, or is it actually to do it?
This is to lay down a plan of action. So yeah, this is to understand how you might make this column of energy do two different things at once, basically. It's a reframe kind of what you've said, if I understood all that correctly.
So Sam rolled below the target number, so I'm guessing I don't get any.
You don't get any help from Sam. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that we had taken it down from intimidating to difficult, I believe.
I believe so, yes. So your target is 12.
I'll put in a level of effort.
All right.
I'm guessing this is an intellect roll.
Yep. You have edge and effort?
Yep.
Okay. So it is down to a demanding. So your target now is 9.
Trying to think if there's anything else I can throw in here. Oh, yeah, actually, I would like to... I guess if this is just to lay down the plan, then maybe not. But I do have, a cipher that I can shape into anything. So I guess if there's going to be a role to actually put the plan into action, then maybe I'll use it for that instead.
Let's do this. Since you know you have access to that thing, that will. So you've already got sort of the basis of something like. We'll allow that. That's going to give you like an extra level of grounding for where this plan is going to go. So I will allow that to knock this down to a
knowing that I have that available, it opens up options. Okay, all right,
right. Yeah,
okay,
good call.
So where am I at?
Your target is
9.
It was demanding after you spent the effort, but with the help of knowing that you've got that weird cipher, we'll take this down to difficulty 2. Your target is 6.
Okay. Well, let's see. 12.
Look at you. Very
Nice.
good. All right. So yeah, the thing that you can imagine is, and you find out that if you have this material that lines this tube, you can use that to reflect this energy beam. So if you were to construct and shape just some kind of thing that would reflect part of this energy beam toward drive to the south, while allowing the rest of the energy beam to pass up to the aisle, you might manage to get both things to happen. Okay. So it's a matter of finding some of this material somewhere.
Silica will convey that to all gathered.
Finding material, you say?
Yes. It must have the following properties, and he'll say, just give you a ton of technobabble. It has to have all this specular, a specular ionicity higher than 0.5, but not higher than 0.8, or just a ton of stuff like that. But then also at the end he'll just point and say it looks and feels like this, and basically show you the material inside the tunnel. Right, that's what we were talking about.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. I guess maybe Anam, you've got, what kind of skill do you have, Anam, regarding finding stuff? You said you had scavenging. Okay. And Brian, I can let both of you individually make a challenging roll in case you might remember having seen this, or that would say that you might know where you can find this material at.
Well, I am specialized in salvaging Numenera.
All right, so Anam, you're gonna do this with effort.
Yeah, because I'm assuming this is going to be an intellect thing.
This is definitely an intellect thing. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Any other tools or things you might have that might make this easier?
I assume we're not going to need to go far for this. Skoosh and Gormar may be able to help out.
Okay. Yeah, this is sort of remembering if you might have encountered it before in the past is what I was thinking of.
Okay, yeah.
So before just kind of scrounging around. So that's yeah. So this would be a challenging, which you've got down to difficult, so your target is a 12.
Oi.
You did not succeed
Nope.
with a 10. Very close. All right, what can Osford do in this area? Similar deal. Challenging effort to or challenging role to remember having seen this anywhere.
Well, can I leverage my salvaging Numenera specialization towards that?
You've got the second level of training.
Yep.
Okay, so that'll knock you down 2 levels.
All right,
So that'll make this a 9.
I'll go ahead and apply a level of effort to that as well.
Okay,
Burning
you have
2.
edge and intellect. Yep. All right, so that'll take this down to a 6.
All right, then I will roll.
You have no idea.
Oh, come on!
Wow.
4.
Wow, you rolled a 4. All right.
I got nothing.
All right, so we know how we need to do this, and we know what we need to do, what we need to find. Silica, you realize that you need no more material than say a half a square meter of this, right? This is not going to require a lot of this material. Just a very thin film of half a square meter.
Okay. I will also convey that to everyone else, and try to think of like other places in this facility where that might be. Like, Silica will say like if we can find some sort of communications hub, this as it's a conducting material may also be found there, or if we can find a couple of things, a lot of which I'm guessing sounds like nonsense to basically a like or some amount of it is going to sound like nonsense to like Bronze Age humans who also happen to have rocket launchers sometimes.
Well, I will start, darting around the facility looking for this stuff.
Likewise.
Yeah, let's split up, guys.
All right.
We're looking for metal in a place made of metal.
You're looking for metal in a place made of orange
A
synth.
particular
actually.
kind of metal.
We're looking for this specific type of metal.
All right, Osford, I'll go with you.
He says, pointing to a source of a lot of this metal.
Can we not use that?
I suppose we could use some of this.
And then I look at Osford. What about that thing that makes the rooms and stuff?
You mean my instant shelter?
No, the metal in a can.
Oh, that's a specific type of thing. I don't think we can use that, but we can use it to fasten it. I'll look at the tunnel and try to figure out if any of that syntho metal is if we could like take it out without harming the process.
Okay.
I will clang clang clang.
Whatever you're clinging on it with, like the tool you're using, what are you clinging on it with?
Actually, probably his hand.
Okay. So it's definitely hurting your hand, and nothing is happening on the material there. You imagine that probably as small a sample as you need, as small a bit as you need, you could probably, if you could somehow figure out how to scrape it off the edge of this tube right here.
Yeah. So it's probably, like a port, like the outside of it has a ring of this material.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So like right on the outside. Right. So the question is, how do you get it off of there?
Yeah.
Since I've spent a lot of time studying this thing, am I familiar with its properties? Do I think that I could torch weld, not weld, but you know what I mean? Like torch cut a chunk of it off?
You might, if you had a hard enough object, you might be able to effectively knock some of it off and then shape it. Heat is not going to be a factor here. Like heat is not going to make it easier to shape. You're just going to need an object that is hard enough that will knock it off of this, so you can get a little chunk of it loose.
I'll walk
dagger
over.
Work?
You can try
dagger?
it.
Is a dagger made of steel?
Presumably.
Yeah, if it's a steel dagger, you can give it a shot. You're not very confident that this is gonna, but you can see what happens.
Yeah, I'll just basically get it to the very edge, like put the dagger there, and then give it like a good like whack with my with like the bottom of my palm.
Okay.
Like hit the hilt and see if it like goes in.
It does not go in. In fact, the point of the dagger is noticeably bent.
Okay. Silica will put the dagger aside, pull out a dagger, and hand it to her. Sorry.
Thanks.
Silica will like walk over to the. Do we still have that like quadruped automaton, or was that's the guardian?
Yeah, that is also there. So it is hanging around with that guy Tharum. Yeah.
Okay. I will just like walk over and like knock on it.
Okay.
Like clang, clang, clang.
It's made of a metallic kind of synth. Yeah.
Yeah. Does it have like claws?
It does have claws. It does.
Okay. Do you think I could detach one of these?
I think that would be I mean, even if it were cooperative, that would be a difficult task to do. You've got some knowledge of Numenera, so that would actually make it, not impossible. So I'll give you a 12 to detach one of the claws.
Can I throw in that I'm also experienced in surgical procedures?
It sounds like a really good idea. You might want to negotiate this with Tharum, or actually,
Sure.
Tharum would be amenable to this, so he's not gonna raise much fuss. If this is going to solve everybody's problem, he would be happy.
Before I excise anything, I probably will ask for it to like come over to the thing and then basically do a similar test where we'll see if we can like wedge in one of its claws into like the very edge of the outer ring.
Okay. All right. You give it a good solid whack with your hand for the force on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And it just bounces off. It did not affect it at all. In fact, the claws noticeably the point is gone off of that claw. It is flattened.
Okay. I will offer to sharpen it again.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah, just kind of like get out some tools on like file it.
Yeah. So you're
buff it a little.
Yeah.
Would maybe your cold ray emitter, like maybe you could like make it super cold and make it brittle and then like crack some of it off?
Silica's already identified that heat or lack of heat is not going to have any effect on this substance.
Yeah. So Silica will say, what allows this material to fulfill our purposes is its incredible ability to conduct energy. So, heat or, as it were, cold, and he'll make like quotes. Will simply. It can essentially pull in an amount of heat to counter it from any place that it's touching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You recognize that the problem here is not necessarily getting a lot of kinetic energy in this case, but that whatever the kinetic energy is delivered with needs to be more indestructible than the material that you're
supernaturally hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So Silica will say, well, we are back to either seeing if we can find any sort of spare paneling of this material or a smaller amount of this material that we can detach from where it is and attach to this, or finding something hard enough to be able to pierce through it. It has to be stronger than steel, probably stronger than a diamond. So we would have to find something that is something of the Numenera to be able to do this.
I hand him my oddity, my metal bar that is impervious to all damage.
I say we have the string too.
The string?
Unbreakable string.
Unbreakable string.
Yeah, but the indestructible rod seems to be precisely the sort of item you might be looking for here.
Could we use the two to fashion a rudimentary lathe?
Yes.
Or you could just try banging it with the indestructible rod
Yeah, see if it
That's
chips.
too easy.
and see which one breaks first.
Yeah, right.
Silica noted where he used the dagger and where he used the claw. So he'll basically line the rod between those two places, which at least have to have some sort of like insignificant microfracture, right? I mean, it might not. This thing might not have any, but it just seems like, might as well hit it where you've already hit it.
Yeah, that's
So,
as good
yeah,
as good a place as any.
Yeah. Silica lines up the rod and then brings his hand back to hit it, then puts his hand down, then looks at Maurice and says, can I have some of your chalk?
Sure thing.
And then he'll lift up move the rod away, make an X, and hand the rod back to Rupert and say, you do it.
Okay. I'm going to try to, what am I trying to do? Break off a piece of this stuff?
Yep,
Yes.
you're just trying to give it a good whack.
Line it up with this mark, and then if you think you can hit it, you can either strike it with the rod, or you can hold the rod there and then use some sort of blunt instrument to drive it into the synth.
I will, do I need to do a check or anything on this?
Yep, we're just going to call this a standard level 2. Your target is 6 to break off
right.
this chunk.
I will throw in 2 of my might into that.
Only
Point
2
to levels of effort.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got an effort too.
Yep. So you can make this down to a 0.
Yeah,
easy.
I'm going to just do it as a 0 easy. I raise my mighty fists. I have the power, and whack
And
as hard as I can.
A chunk comes off that Silica recognizes, though he's going to have to whack it several more times with this indestructible rod. It is a chunk that you can fashion into a reflective surface, and you will surely be able to bend the beam.
All right. Who has the indestructible string?
That would be me.
Rob.
Yeah. So he'll ask Ganem for his indestructible string, and
There you go.
basically begin a process of banging on this thing, and then pulling the string along its edges, and basically going up and down to file it, or to file it, polish it, beat on it some more, and try to get it to the correct shape and refractive index.
That sounds like the thing you need to do.
Okay.
All right. So after maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you've got a nice surface that you think will be appropriate for the task you need.
Silica will say, if we introduce this at the correct angle, this should be able to power drive and also leave plenty of energy for the transporter beam. However, in service of safety, I feel that we must also reinforce, and he points at the sticks and rods that are holding up the beam. We must also create a new mooring for this that will not buckle under its own pressure.
So Tharm comes up and he says, "This has been very specifically, clearly, definitely calibrated. Please do not move it in the slightest, or we will not be able to target the aisle."
Silica says, "Very well," and then he walks back over to the group and says, "If this thing falls over, we might have, or someone might have to check out here again to stand it back up." And then, Silica will make so it emanates from the bottom. So maybe he makes basically a thing that hooks onto the rim of it
Mm-hmm.
with a protrusion into it that will then hopefully reflect this back into the port, like the tunnel.
That's sounds like a solid plan.
Yep. And he'll do it in such a way that so that there isn't like a death beam like pointing at the ground and then like slowly move it, like, moving in the direction that it's supposed to, like disintegrating things on the way. He'll try to avoid that.
Yep. In fact, you imagine that it should disrupt the beam without disrupting the beam.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So Silica will install it, and hopefully at the end of that there will be a smaller beam shooting down into the tunnel.
Yep. It is perfectly circular beam, and it is going down the tunnel. It is not as wide as the beam that is going up to the aisle, but the aisle directed beam doesn't seem to be any weaker or smaller either. So it seems that you have solved the problem. Well done.
All right.
Hey, good job. I'm going to run back and check really quick to see if the drive's working. You guys wait here.
It does occur to you that one of the things you could do is maybe if you knew where the exit port was in Drive, you might be able to just hop in this tiny little beam and shoot down there.
Teleport there. Oof,
although that may not be the there might be some risk involved in that.
Yeah. Again, if you don't have the corresponding mitt, it's a lot of trouble.
Well, I will tell you folks that you have solved the problem.
Woo!
Yay!
We win.
You you win Numenera. Congratulations. All right. Well, that was a bizarre game.
Yeah.
That was, but it was really fun. Thanks.
What did you think, Brad? This is the first time you've run Numenera?
Yeah, this is I hope I'm not like making this up. I feel like I am. Like I feel like I'm just got some weird confirmation bias here. But I feel like the structure of this system was better for storytelling. Like I think I get, and maybe just that I've read enough stuff from the Cypher system and I know what Monty Hook and company were trying to do with this, but I felt like I was more focused on the story than on the mechanics, which I think was the intention. Did you all get that sort of sense, or was it? And Rob and Brian, I know that may not even be a plus for you all, though, right? Because the mechanics are often more fun than the story, maybe, right?
That all depends on the story, really. But
Yeah.
I know I would have liked a little more structure when playing a game, although part of that might have been just not having any of the structure at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like not I don't know if I didn't understand what I was doing while I was character creating or what.
Well, part of it is I feel like we had, and maybe I just think weird in these terms, but like we had sort of a small target area here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's all kinds of stuff that still could be done. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like your characters could go off in all kinds of different directions.
Yeah.
Although
Go explore those other locations on the map and
yeah. So you didn't get a lot of. I mean, this is sort of a do this one thing and get this thing done. Like you didn't get a lot of like, well, we would like to do this and go off in this area, right? There wasn't a lot of
Numenera.
Yeah, there was not a lot of the sandboxy stuff that I think is maybe the strength of this game.
I mean, to kind of get what you were talking about earlier, I feel like the real Goldilocks to what I'd want in a system is one that it does provide some interesting mechanics while not getting in the way of the narrative of the story, which I feel like this does a pretty good job of.
Yeah.
There is some weird things that I don't know if I'm particularly a fan of, just in my personal taste, like having your resource be your life, and I mean it does make some interesting
like mechanical decisions.
Yeah, an interesting
like
decision
it makes
point.
defense such an interesting calculation because
it's like, is it worth burning the hits, or would I just be better off taking a hit and risking maybe if I just roll and dodge, but if not, then I'll be taking the same damage pretty much either way.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is interesting.
I feel like there's a level of calculation that one could do there that sort of escapes me, or I just haven't like kind of dug into it. But maybe if you played this game enough or regularly, you would know.
Yeah, it would be a thing where
it would become more familiar.
Yeah, where you'd be like, okay, I've seen this thing attack. It deals 3 damage. There's no point of me trying to put any effort into this attack. If I'm gonna take 2 damage at best with my armor, then I might as well just roll, and take the damage, because
whereas something that's like going to grab you and chew on you and poison you,
or poison you or whatever. Yep. Then even if it does little damage up front, you still might consider spending the effort, potentially quote unquote taking more damage to mitigate the things. And I think a lot of that stuff is already written into like the creatures in the books. But you kind of have to like discover it, which I guess is thematic.
I guess that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, experience being a resource that players can spend is a little weird.
I don't like it.
No.
Yeah, because I always want to hoard it to actually improve my character.
Yeah. It's like, I know that I've seen some people talk about having like table XP and like character XP. So it's like if you get XP during a session, that XP is for spending in session, like with player intrusions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas like XP given between sessions is meant to be spent that way, but at that point you might as well just call it 2 different things.
Yeah, like have like action points and momentum or chips or whatever.
Whatever I don't think I did even close to the proper amount of GM intrusions.
Yeah, so there's a few things about this system that are interesting, and I read something, and I don't remember what the differences are called, but there are systems that are like D&D and like World of Darkness and Exalted and stuff like that, are games where you look at your stats and say, these are the things that I can do, right? Like, what can you do? I can do these things. Numenera is trying at the opposite of that, where it says you can do anything, but you're good at this handful of things, right?
Yeah.
Where like the system itself is kind of big and open-ended, and that includes those intrusions as well, where it's like you as a game master have to identify moments in which you can basically throw a wrench into things that are going to, but also in such a way that's going to keep the game moving. Like if we were sitting like chonking on those like clay guys over and over and over again, like trying to whittle them down, and we're like, GM intrusion, 4 more of those show up, like that wouldn't have been helpful to the pace of the game, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to find these moments where it's like, okay, so you roll to find a cipher, you correctly identify it, GM intrusion, it's now bonded to your skin, so you can still use, obviously not having silica there, that would have been a much more
interesting.
Yeah, just because that's silica's deal, but something like that, right?
Yeah.
Or like it's like, oh, you get the cipher, you get 4 ciphers, GM intrusion, you really, really want this one, and are suddenly very angry at the prospect that somebody might take it from you, right? So that's
it's
kind of
precious.
Yeah, they're kind of like things that you are like,
And I do have an invisible ring.
There you go. So I think that's what it wants. But as far as player intrusions, as a player, because players get to do this too, and assuming that you are willing to part with your delicious XP, it also it's difficult to be like how much can I do? Like, okay, I've hit this guy for some good damage. Can I do a player intrusion to say, and a chunk of him flies off and hits his friend for some more damage? Like it's hard to figure out where the line is, and I think that just comes through like gameplay and trying things out, maybe.
Yeah. And I can say I definitely feel you on the feeling like you didn't do enough GM intrusions, because like running, Powered by the Apocalypse, when we did Urban Shadows, I feel like maybe I didn't hit the hard and soft moves as much as I should have also.
Doesn't the GM intrusion, because there's also for a game we're coming up on, there's threats that the GM can use threats in the same way that players can use momentum. And I guess it depends on how difficult you want to make the game, because like in this last thing where I took the difficulty down to 0, you could have still done a GM intrusion and said, yeah, but you're really worried that you're not going to hit it right, or your hands are slippery or something. So that moves the difficulty back up to 1, which then forces your players to either say, well, I guess I'm going to have to roll this and either get a 3 on this, or I'm going to have to use more of my very precious life energies to bring that back down again.
One thing you're talking about with, like, say, Octung Cthulhu is, like, you can explicitly, as Rodrigo discussed, like, you can use it to not just, like, adjust the difficulties, but have, like, oh, now these Nazis have flamethrowers.
Yeah.
So Rodrigo, you were talking about comparing this to D&D and how D&D is, this says you can do this and this is. How do you feel? And it was especially because you guys have played D&D at the high levels, right? And one of the things that I have always been painfully aware of with D&D is, regardless of how high a level you are, you're always still trying to get in the mid to high teens.
Yeah, you're still trying to roll a 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so it's always just an illusion of all the pluses that you throw onto that. Like that all, like once you figure that out about that sort of structure, it seems to kind of erase a lot of it for me, right?
Sure. Yeah. I think you and I actually had this conversation a long time ago where we were talking about how,
That's right. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah. How all the plus ones down in your base attack bonus column are completely artificial because the monsters grow at the same rate, right?
Yeah.
And I think they are. Like, there's no mitigating that. I believe, and I think, Brian, I don't know if Sam, if you checked it out as much, but the D&D playtest back when it was like D&D Next and they were gearing up for 5th edition, there was a version of it that didn't have plus ones every level. It's just like, everything's just always the same. Like the monsters.
Yeah, because they were really focusing on the whole bounded accuracy. Like the goblin's still going to be a pain in your butt at like level 10, just like it was at level 1.
Right. And people hated that because you took away their Skinner box. It's like, if I don't get to level, then I don't. Then why am I even doing this? Why am I even poking at the square if I don't get a treat?
That's pretty.
Yeah,
right.
So I feel like this, at least perceptibly. Although I also suspect that there's a similar illusion just playing in the opposite direction here. But I at least felt like we were being honest about that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
Like, well, now you've got to roll. You know what I mean? Like that sort of negotiating the number down by calling on different assets seems to be. I'm not going to say more honest, but I guess it seems to be more transparent about what's happening with that die roll.
Well, so lowering the target number and increasing your bonus are more or less the same thing, right? It's different because of the way Numenera does it in chunks of 3.
Yeah.
But there's not a big difference between those two. If Numenera went the other way, if it was like, okay, you're trying to jump over this chasm, your rocket boots give you a +3, and your friends, helping you leap off the side give you another +3 or whatever, it would be the same. It just, there's no again, like all those levels in D&D have this like artificial number inflation.
Yeah. I would say
but either one of those ways would be more or less the same.
Yeah. I'd say the main difference here is that we explicitly know what number we're shooting at and can therefore make the specific decision of what we want to use.
Yeah, there's a lot in this system is interesting because I think there's bits about it that I think are purposefully awkward, like the fact that you sub level up into a tier, right? Is you put a thing, then another thing, then another thing, and now you're a new tier and you get some bonuses for that. So it's I feel like they really break up leveling up so that it doesn't feel like leveling up. so that it doesn't, you're not like, okay, well, I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting for this next level. It's like, it's trying to have it somewhere in between the like White Wolf or Shadowrun thing where you are spending XP to buy specific traits, and D&D where you get levels, where you can only advance through a full level, right? So it's interesting.
Yeah. And the ciphers, by the way, just holy cow.
The ciphers are so cool. I just love them so much. Like they're just like, even if they're not useful, they're just so packed full of flavor that you want to figure out a way to make them. I
can't like, I look at this game and I'm like, I probably shouldn't run a game of Numenera because I would just get so tied up in the ciphers.
Like, just making all the weird things.
Yeah.
Somebody, I feel like, would you make the players like, well, this is this thing, and not tell them what they do and just describe it, and then they have to just try it and see what happens?
Yeah, I think
that would be so fun.
Yeah. I mean, it would be fun. I mean, definitely if any rolls are failed, right? It's like, okay, you know that something dangerous comes out of this end. Like, I think that would be a good way to do it. Although,
you know, snake monster that you also have to fight.
Yeah, if you have a nano or whatever. But yeah, my problem would be like, okay, the nano rolls and gets a really good roll is like you identify this like force cube thing, and then it'd be like, so what you figure out is that this is actually a construction tool of some kind that they would do, and then they would build stuff around it. But you know, you don't know where to get this like material that would allow you to build around it. So all this does is just project a thing of force. There's also no way to turn it off. Because that itself, like, it's supposed to self turn off when the project is complete, but it doesn't read any project, so it just keeps going. You know, it's like I would just like pull all the players down this like rabbit hole of like just nonsense, because I love that. I love that the majority of the ciphers, or maybe not the majority, but a lot of the ciphers are not meant to be used that way, right?
Yeah.
It's like humans figured out that if you jab a metal rod into this thing, you have about 3 seconds before it explodes. But it actually is itself a smoke detector. Like, that's what it's trying to be. It's just powered by this like nuclear battery, because everything that this nation built 10,000 years ago was powered that way, right? It just, I'm doing it right now. I'm just like, blah, 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 blah.
Honestly, I think that'd be great, especially in a game that does use the society development.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's like eventually you can maybe back engineer how to make some, useful technology that doesn't just explode.
Yes.
Yeah. And there are so many different cipher. Like, so every one of the major source books has probably 50, 60 ciphers in that. Like the list is just like every book has got just another ridiculous list.
And there's like Numenera is compatible with like the cipher system like core book, right?
Yes, yeah.
So there might be more there, and who knows? Maybe when you go into what is it, like Old Gods of Appalachia, like some of those might be compatible as well.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know that this depending on when this goes out, but well, you guys will at least care about this. So I think it ends June 1st, but there's a new celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Cypher system bundle of holding that's available right now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Just started today. Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. Everybody enjoy this system, or is this a system you would play again, or is this a system that you'd rather just pass on?
I mean, I thought this was super cool.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I'd definitely give it a go. I don't know if I'd like put it on the top of my, if I was going to suggest a thing heap, but if someone was willing to run it, I'd definitely be interested in joining in.
Cool. Rob, what about you?
I'm with Brian on that one. This definitely wouldn't go at the top of my list. I think I've warmed up to it over the course of us playing, because I definitely wasn't that big on it earlier on, but I'd at least give it another shot.
Yeah, I mean, I like this system. I think it's interesting. I like the target that you got to hit, or what is it, hit or above. I think works really well, because it does give you. I know it still gives you a target that you have to shoot for, but it allows you to have a range as opposed to a single number. That may develop other things, like when you hit 16 and above or 17 and above, starts adding additional things to your roles, I think is really cool. So I think there's some possibilities in here, and I enjoyed this game. I thought you did a great job running it, Brad. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
Real pleasure playing with you.
I appreciate you all saying that. Yeah, this was definitely outside my typical wheelhouse. So
I definitely appreciate your game master cruelty instincts. I think you need that for this setting. I think you have to be like, okay, yeah, sometimes you're going to do stuff, and it was a mistake. You made or maybe it wasn't a mistake. You don't know.
Do we need to talk about?
Yeah, exactly. Do we need to cut this guy out? That was I'm like, yes, that is like, when that was happening, although my character didn't, I definitely felt something. And I guess that's what you want out of your role-playing games.
There you go. Excellent.
All right, everybody, that wraps it up for Numenera. We've got some other stuff on the way, so keep listening. And until next time, here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits.
This podcast is copyright 2022 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.